When relationships fall apart, most people look for who is to blame or what went wrong recently. But what if the real cause of marital breakdown is far older, quieter, and deeply misunderstood? Today's conversation explores the hidden forces that shape betrayal, midlife crisis, and divorce, and what you can actually do when everything feels like it's falling apart. Welcome to Healing Horizons, where we explore hopeful, grounded paths through life's most painful transitions. I am Yusuf, and my guest today is Larry Bilotta, a relationship manager and teacher who, after enduring 27 years in a loveless marriage, discovered a breakthrough that transformed his life and his relationship. Larry has since helped tens of thousands of people regain clarity, stability, and emotional control during moments of betrayal and marital crisis. Today, we are talking about the chaos kit factor, a mysterious but powerful force behind many divorces, and how understanding it can change how you respond when your relationship is on the brink. With that, I welcome my guest, Larry Bilotta, to the show.
Thank you, Yusuf. This is Larry. This is Larry. Yeah, I'm really glad to be here.
Perfect, sir. So, Larry, you often talk about something you call the chaos kit phenomena. I'm curious, what is it? And how does it quietly influence whether a marriage succeeds or fails?
So, a chaos kid is an idea. And the idea is that if you were born in a world where you had abandonment and abuse and neglect, any of those three, to the degree you had them, you're a chaos kid. And because you're a chaos kid, for the last 15 years, I've been interviewing people and I've been asking about the scale. And what I've been doing is I've been learning that people are raised somewhere on the scale. So I want to explain the scale. The scale starts at 10. And when you're at 10, that means your father and your mother stay together and they enjoy each other. And because
Mm.
as a result, they love you and they give you a great experience. Because they give you a great experience, they give you really great values. They give you values of conversation and trust and likability and friendliness and warmth. They give you all those things as part of what you're experiencing, and your mind builds around those ideas. That's at a 10. Okay, that's at the top of the scale. When you're raised at the bottom of the scale, that's not what you get. When you're raised at the bottom of the scale, you're now living through abandonment, abuse, and neglect. And that is what makes a chaos kid. Abandonment, abuse, and neglect. Those are the three energies and experiences that give you the chaos world and give you the chaos kid title, right? Because you're a chaos kid. And that means that built inside your subconscious mind is chaos. And because chaos is there, it's going to come out. And where does it come out? It comes out in the intimate relationship called marriage. We don't know why is that? Because marriage is the only relationship. It's not like friendships. It's not like family. It's not like coworkers. It's none of those relationships. It's a unique relationship, a relationship built on the intimate relationship. And because it's intimate, it all the ugliness that's in your subconscious mind can come out. And so that's what a chaos kid is. A chaos kid is I carry the chaos in my subconscious mind, and it's going to come out when I least expect it. And it comes out through marriage. So what that means is if you're a chaos kid, you can get married, not know you're a chaos kid, or even think you just look at your history. You know your history. And if you know your history alerts you that I am a chaos kid. And so I want to give you the scale again, because people listening to this, they want to know, well, how do I locate myself on the scale? So the way you locate yourself on the scale, you think in terms of 10 to 0. So 10 is mom and dad love each other and they love you and they teach you. And that is what a 10 is. A 0 is I was abandoned, I was abused, and I was neglected by either my father or my mother. So I can have a father that abandons me, abuses me, and neglects me. I can have a mother who abandons me, abuses me, and neglects me. And you can have either one do it. And so if you have a father doing it and the mother does not do it, so the mother gives you a place where you're split on the scale. So your mother
Mm.
can raise you at a 10, but your father can raise you at a 0. Or your mother can raise you at a 0 and your father can raise you at a 10. And so now you're split. And now the question is when your chaos comes, what do you become like? Do you take after your mother or do you take after your father? You take after your father. If your father was a chaos kid, you're a chaos kid. If you take after your mother and your mother was a chaos kid, you're a chaos kid. So now, if we have that split where the mother like raises you at the high place at a 10, your father raises you at a 0, you're now split. What am I going to become? Am I going to become like my father or my mother? Well, who do you take after? That's the phrase we use. Who do you take after? And what that phrase means is, who do I follow most likely? Who do I follow in my daily life most likely? Am I like my dad or am I like my mom? And so that's some question every person has to ask. Am I most like my father or most like my mother? So I've had people that I've worked with and they were split.
Mm.
And they were in a marriage and the person I'm working with is in this marriage and they're married to a chaos kid. And the chaos kid was a person who was like, uh, I'm talking about a man. A man is married to a chaos kid, and the chaos kid is uh, uh, married to the mother, the woman who's like her mother, because she's like her mother. Her mother's a 0, and she could be like her father, who was an 8. But what's it going to be? Well, she takes after her mother, and because she takes after her mother's like a 0. So
Mm.
her father's like an 8, her mother's like a 0. So what's she going to be? She's going to be like her mother. And so what's that mean? When people argue, you're just like your mother, you're just like your father. Why do they say that? They say it because you're just like this person I'm looking at in the world. You're just like this woman who's dysfunctional and troubled and anxious and worried and mean and frustrated, right?
Mm.
You're just like your mother. So when the person sees the behavior of the mother, they now realize that she's just becoming like her mother. So now when we fall in love, this is the key point. When we fall in love, love creates the oxytocin and dopamine. And the
Mm.
oxytocin and dopamine are just heady drugs. They're wonderful drugs. And they make you feel so wonderful and so happy. You do not look at who you're marrying. You do not look at the downside of who you're marrying. You just can't look at it. You're too in love to look at it. You're too oxytocin and dopamine filled to look at those people in their true nature. And that's why people cannot see the chaos kid. The chaos kid is invisible to them because love makes it invisible. Because when you're in love, you can't see the truth.
Yeah. Another concept you teach is the invisible lifestyle. How does this hidden way of living connect to betrayal and infidelity in long term relationships?
So when we're talking about infidelity, we're talking about a person who's built on the idea of lying and hiding. Lying and hiding is what creates betrayal. It creates infidelity. Lying and hiding is a value. It's a value that comes from chaos. And so if you have lying and hiding and you try to come into a marriage, the lying and hiding comes with you because that's like the 0 child that you were raised to be. And you could be raised at a 1 or a 0 or a 2 or a 3. But when you're down there in the troubling, difficult, hard things of abandon, abuse, and neglect. And so when you find yourself down there, that's called the invisible lifestyle. Now, why is it called the invisible lifestyle? Because the word lifestyle means a way of life or a style of living that reflects the values of a person or group. That's the definition of the word lifestyle. And so what is the group? The group is mom and dad. That's the group. And so what is the invisible lifestyle? The invisible lifestyle is a lifestyle, the way of life, a style of living that you cannot see. You cannot see it. It's invisible. It's a thing that just disappears. And like was try to look at it as close as we can, but we just can't do it because we just can't see it because we're just too close to it. And so, what I talk about, I've used the scale for 15 years. I've interviewed people, thousands of people. So I'm individually doing these interviews. I'm asking these individual people, both men and women, to tell me about their childhood for
Right.
15 years. And for 15 years, I never have gotten a person who's a 10 married to a 9. Why not? Why don't I end up with people who are 10s married to 9s? Those are really good childhoods. Those are really good values. And so people who have those really good values, when they struggle, they just go to a little pep talk or a marriage seminar or a counselor or something. And then they realize what they did, they correct it, and then they go on living their life in the way that they were really led to and made to. But what do I get? I get chaos kids. A 10 married to a 0, a 9 married to a 2. That's what I get. And because I get that, the 9 married to the 2, I get trouble. And I've been getting it for 15 years. And it never ends because no one can see it. No one can know because the lifestyle is invisible. And so no one can teach it. They can't teach this in high school. They can't alert high school kids. Hey, did you know about the invisible lifestyle? No, so we didn't know about this. And we don't want to know.
Right.
Why? Because what do I need that for? Well, let's just wait until I fall in love with somebody. And then that brings us to the whole falling in love phenomenon. What
Right.
happens when you fall in love? And when you fall in love, even if you're a chaos kid, you can fall in love and feel that that love is going to last forever because you don't know anything about the love. But it feels so good. It feels so happy. It feels so delightful, so exciting, so thrilling. It's going to last forever. And that's the feeling that love gives you. It gives you this wonderful feeling that it'll never end. And there's nothing that says it will end. There's nothing that tells you it'll end. You can even have discouraging people when you meet somebody and you're really falling for them. The family, they're not in love with that person. They're not in love. So they can look at that person and they can look at that person's background and they can get a sense. Oh, something's wrong. I don't know. I don't know. And they can give you the warnings. But do you know the person in love cannot hear the warning? They can't
Yeah,
hear 'em.
it's true. Let's bring this,
They're not ready.
let's bring this to the moment people fear the most. When someone has been betrayed or their partner announces they want a divorce, what is the single most important thing they should do and what should they absolutely avoid?
Okay, so I'm going to use an Indian couple.
Okay.
Um, the Indian couple is a man who's a chaos kid. And the man becomes a doctor. And the reason he becomes a doctor is because he wants to be, Indian families really value education. So from the littlest age, you get hammered in the idea of education. But emotional maturity is not something that you're actually taught in the Indian family. That's not a subject, right? Just education. That's all that you're taught. And so this man becomes a doctor. And he also kind of becomes an entrepreneur. And so he marries a woman who's an Indian woman. And generally in the Indian family, women are led to believe that they are here to serve their husbands. That's the only thing and raise children. And that's what they believe. And so she becomes the secretary. And so what happens to him is when he falls apart in his midlife crisis, because that's really what chaos kids ends up doing, he starts falling apart. And when he falls apart, what do they have? Well, they've got 3 children. They've got money. They've got a business practice. They've got a very entrenched, involved set of what's happening. They've got assets. They've got these children, and everything is a very complicated life. And so during that complicated life, he starts falling apart, and he starts becoming interested in another woman, and he starts falling apart and doing what his father did. His father was a man who was interested in other women. And so
Oh,
he does what his father did. And so when he starts falling apart, what's now being threatened? The stability of a true family is being threatened.
oh,
The security of the money is being threatened. His ability to make a living is being threatened. His ability to secure a relationship with his children is being threatened. All that's being destroyed. Why? Because he was born with chaos. She married him with chaos. She didn't know that this was chaos was anything. But if she would have known about chaos, she would have said, wait a minute, why am I falling in love with this doctor? The doctor can be a chaos kid just like a truck driver can be a chaos kid. The doctor doesn't promise me anything better because he's a chaos kid. I'm going to marry the chaos of his family. And so that's the important thing. You've got to realize you don't marry a person, you marry a family. A man doesn't marry a woman, he marries a family. A woman doesn't marry a man, she marries a family. That means a whole family system. And if that family included abandonment, abuse, and neglect, and by the way, those are just single name titles. When I talk
oh,
about abandonment, abuse, and neglect, those are just single name titles. And oh, ooh, that sounds bad. But if you get into the detail of what it's like to be abandoned, it's a horrible, painful, destroying kind of thing that happens to the child at a time when the child can't process any of it. It doesn't know what abandonment is. It just feels horrible, right? Abuse, that could be physical. It could be mental abuse. Like it could be just very dark and very, very chaotic. Neglect, that's being left alone. There's no groceries. There's no food. There's the electricity is not being paid, right? That's all part of chaos. And so that's what the invisible lifestyle is talking about. It's invisible because it's being hidden from you. And so the only reason a person wants to learn this is because they've had it already happen. It's already happened, and it could happen again. I had people in recovery. You know what that means? In recovery, that means they're in a halfway house. They're in a place where former drug addicts, former alcoholics live. And what happens is those drug addicts and alcoholics, they fall in love with each other while they're in recovery.
okay.
And so they think, hey, it's gonna get better. We're in love, we can start a life together. We can take these values we never got and we're gonna borrow them and we're gonna use them to make a life together. So that's what the recovery people try to do. And what's there? The invisible lifestyle is always there. It's waiting for it. And so they're trying to make a life, but they can't because
Yeah.
they've got this all in their subconscious mind. And so that's what they're trying to do. So what you're asking is there a solution? So the solution is in the mind. The solution is not in the body. The solution's in the mind because it is what you think, it is what you imagine, it is what you believe. Now, when I say those three words, it sounds, oh, that's simple. Think a thought, imagine a picture, and believe a belief. That is not at all what this is about. This is about what's really involved in those meanings of those three words. When
Mm,
you think a thought. And we have thoughts that are thought storms, literally thousands of thoughts, because we can't see them, we can't control them, we can't lead them, we can't steer them, we don't even know what we're doing. But the first solution is what you think. The second solution is what you imagine. When you imagine things, that creates a world in your mind. And the third thing is what you believe. And that's a deep question. You don't even know what you believe.
oh,
You can rattle off some shallow phrase like "I believe in marriage." Like that doesn't tell us anything because how deeply do you believe in marriage? Well, I've had people who believe so deeply in marriage that they believe that they have to fight for their marriage. What does that mean? A conflict for marriage. You're carrying a belief that says you should fight for your marriage. That means there's going to be a dark, combative experience in your marriage. In order to have the marriage, you have to have a dark, combative experience. And that does not help you at all to hold that belief. And so beliefs drive all the things we do, everything we do. Being a chaos kid, it's loaded with beliefs. And those beliefs are never questioned, they're never looked at. So if you're going to begin with what you think, what you imagine, what you believe, you got to begin with what you think the thought. What do I think? I think I should be a happy person. That's a thought, right? But that's a thought that would not normally help you unless you thought, well, like I'm married to this guy and I'm going to think the thought that we used to be happy. We were in a moment when we lived in a place and a time when we were both in an island that we lived it together and we were happy in that island. Because I'd get up in the morning and I walk out to the sea and I would walk in the sand and then I walk with my dog and I would walk with my husband and I would walk with my son. It was such a happy time. And I would think about that happy time and I would enjoy that memory. I'm thinking a thought. And so when I think that thought, then I'm imagining a picture of what it looked like. What did I see? What did I feel? What was I wearing? What was he wearing? Why was it happy? What was his expression? What was my expression? That's imagination. And then finally, the belief. What was my belief at that time? Well, I believed that we would have a wonderful life, that we liked each other, that we enjoyed each other, we were committed to each other. I liked that. I loved that. I believed it, right? So that's think a thought, imagine a picture, believe a belief. That's an exercise that doesn't end. You don't ever want that to end because you want to continue to do it. Think a thought, imagine a picture, believe a belief. So that's the way to start to change the direction you're going in because chaos doesn't take you in that direction. Chaos takes you in a terrible direction. It's not think, imagine, believe.
Larry, where can listeners learn more about your work and find guidance if they are navigating betrayal or marital crisis right now?
So a simple place to go is you can save this marriage.com. And you can see this marriage is where my programs are and also LarryBilotta.com is another place. You can also search on YouTube on the Larry Bilotta channel, LarryBilotta. So
Perfect.
I put a lot of these ideas in videos.
Mm, that's the most easiest and
Yes.
most I would say better way to teach people
Yeah.
and make them understand.
Yes. YouTube controls the world.
Yeah.
Everybody learns everything from YouTube.
And to our listeners, all the links that Larry just mentioned are in the show notes. So just go and check those out. Larry, do you have any last message?
Um, so you said the job that everyone has who is a chaos kid is they are in chaos. That chaos is in their subconscious mind. The subconscious mind I draw is a big vat, a great big vat that's loaded with that urges and needs and longings. There are no thoughts. No, there's no words there. And above that vat, there's a small glass jar. That small glass jar is the conscious mind. The conscious mind is where we have words. That's where we explain things. We tell people how we feel about things and how we like things. That's a conscious mind. So we have a subconscious that's disconnected from our conscious mind. So the job is to start to move into a place called mindfulness. Mindfulness is really what people need to move towards. They need to move away from chaos and they need to move towards mindfulness. And there's so many helpful books in the world of Amazon about mindfulness that you can it's like throw a dart and you will hit a mindfulness book.
Thank you so much
So
for joining us on Healing Horizons.
thank you, Yusuf. Thanks for the opportunity.
Pleasure, sir. And if today's conversation resonated with you, remember this: you are not broken and you are not powerless. Even when the ground feels like it's shifting beneath you. Until next time, keep choosing clarity over chaos and compassion over fear.